The job of capacity management, along with demand management, is to balance the demand and make sure capacity is managed to fulfill those demands. Let's now understand how capacity management does this job. Capacity management process starts with two activities. One is making adjustments to capacity based on inputs from demand management from service strategy. For example, a telecom provider is going to introduce video calling as a service. This requirement then comes to IT, and IT will then arrange for additional capacity to manage the demand for his new service. The second activity is an ongoing measurement, monitoring and tuning of IT components supporting an IT service. This ensures that the current capacity is not affecting the performance services being offered. For example, if the free space on a hard disk of a critical server is approaching its limit, which we will get to know from monitoring, the unnecessary files and data can be deleted to regain the free space, which is called tuning. Other activities of capacity management include application sizing and modeling, which means that if a new business process or a new application supporting a business process is being introduced, the IT components need to be designed or sized to meet the requirements of that process or application. Using the earlier example of a restaurant, say, based on demand, the restaurant is planning to introduce Japanese cuisine. The owner of the restaurant will need to plan for adding space for patrons, storage for ingredients, more waiters and chefs with a knowledge of Japanese cuisine, or putting it simply, sizing the resources for the new offering, which is to say, forecasting of behavior of IT infrastructure under certain conditions. For example, what will happen if the users of a service suddenly double, etc. Ideally, such changes will be planned, but sizing will have a buffer for unpredictable changes. A key activity of capacity management process is capacity planning. Capacity planning is typically a periodic activity and in line with the financial cycle. This is because of the financial implications of capacity, which means changes to capacity typically require upgrading or downgrading of resources like hardware, software, space, and so on. This activity involves planning for capacity for changing demands of business, which happens through assessment of current installed capacity, the current and future needs of that capacity, getting the departments who need that capacity and the department who provides that capacity to agree, documenting the whole plan and getting it approved. Let's understand this with an example. An organization of 100 users has currently a 1 Mbps internet link, so the installed capacity for internet service is 1 Mbps. The link is currently 90% utilized by most of the working hours, and the users are facing slowness or degraded performance in application running on that internet link. The IT department will be monitoring this utilization, and parallel user will be complaining about the performance. So at the end of the year, when the budgetary projections are due, the IT department, who is the service owner for this link, will meet the business process owners to understand their needs and future requirements. Due to the changing demand for the internet service, both business process owners and service owners will come to an agreement that the link needs to be upgraded to say 2 Mbps. This will then go into the capacity plan for this service for the next year. Of course, to enable this decision making, the service owner will be doing another activity of capacity management, which is reporting. The service owner will be reporting periodically on the demands made on the current capacity, performance of the service under these demands, and other requirements as required by the users of that service. All this data from demand management forecasts, monitoring of capacity, performance reports, and capacity planning are maintained by the capacity management process in a database called Capacity Management Information System, or CMIS in short. Maintenance of this database is another activity of this process. This activity makes sure that the information available to decision makers is up to date and accurate. Capacity management can be extremely technical, complex and demanding process that comprises 3 sub-processes. Let's understand these sub-processes in the next slide.